All right, good morning, everybody. We wanted to give a quick update regarding the coronavirus COVID-19 and its relationship to Transwest Mobile. We know it's on everybody's mind, and we wanted to just give you a company perspective on it and how it will affect us as we move forward, and just provide a little bit of perspective from the company side and what we're going to do moving forward to make sure that we're as cautious and taken care of as possible. And I think that's the word that we want to talk about is caution versus panic. So most of us agree that a lot of what's already happened has been caused because of panic towards what's happening and not necessarily what's happening itself. And so we want to be precautious as a company to not add to that panic, but rather to help it subside so that we can do our part in the local economy and in the national economy to make sure that we can continue moving forward with as much of a normal life as possible and minimizing the effect that it has on all of our families. Part of that is also understanding, knowing, and interpreting the facts. So everybody has different questions about, who does it affect? How does it affect them? How is it transmitted from person to person? What danger is it, et cetera, et cetera. So we encourage you to find out what the legitimate facts are and to interpret them for how they apply in your own life. So even though it necessarily doesn't affect younger people and that sort of thing, we want to make sure that we're not part of transmitting it so that it eventually grows and gets, to people that are affected, people with health problems or the elderly. But we encourage you to overall understand those facts and then apply them in your life. The best thing we can do as an entire nation is to limit the transmission, regardless of the danger that it actually poses to the individuals, is to stop it from spreading, because that helps both the people that can get sick and the panic that's associated with the sickness. So we want to do our part as a company to implement internal procedures and then encourage external procedures in all of our personal lives. The internal procedures that we want to implement ongoing will be basic things like having a designated person to clean surfaces in the shops on a regular basis, and then we'll ask you as technicians to do the same with your personal shops, your trucks, so that those get cleaned with the Clorox wipes, and we'll be getting those and providing those to you. As we move and the government does different things, we're going to adapt and make changes that you'll see going forward. So there's possible things of working remotely or doing less of coming to the shop with different roles and responsibilities, that sort of thing you'll see as we go. We want to encourage everybody to wash their hands, of course, all the time, cover your mouth, and avoid contact. Since it's so widespread and it's so common and it is being taken seriously, just an air fist bump or something like that is totally acceptable, and we encourage everybody to do that. All right, for traveling, if anybody travels out of the country that is a Transwest employee, we expect that you do not return to work for 14 days following a international travel. And then we encourage you to avoid traveling to any area that has known cases of the coronavirus. If you have a reasonable suspicion that you've been around someone that's been sick, we want you to use extreme caution, especially the next few days about where you're touching and coming into work. We don't want to say not to come if you're in that sort of situation, but please be prudent in that. However, if you are sick, regardless of what you believe the sickness is, we encourage you to not come to work at all. And we're going to work with the government as they declare what they're going to do as far as helping with paying employees and that sort of a situation. And of course, we'll do what we can on our end to whatever extent possible. If you are a technician, we want you to be smart about how you're working with the vehicle. So we have rubber gloves, which is a big deal. Using and replacing gloves after you've touched a vehicle is very important. Just get a new pair on, okay? Anytime you touch the keys, steering wheel, we're gonna be getting plastic seat covers so that you can put those on the seat if you have to drive a customer vehicle. because it's been shown that the coronavirus can stay in materials like that for a long time. Plastics and fabrics, the coronavirus can live on for quite some time. But again, with the gloves, just dispose your gloves. Anytime you touch something, get a new set. We want to minimize the customer contact as much as possible. Again, just an air bump, same thing with them is totally appropriate. We want to limit your congregation in the shop, how much time we're spending with each other, touching and that sort of thing, or breathing the air, since there is a strong belief that it's transmitted through the air. And anything like that, any common sense procedure that you think should be done, we want to do. And then implementing procedures in your personal life. Make sure that you are using the same preventative measures in your personal life as much as possible, and then that you're also prepared. So we don't want to panic, because again, that just creates more problems, but we do want to be prepared. And if you've talked to any of us personally, we typically always promote emergency preparedness and that sort of thing, making sure we have appropriate food and water and reasonable supplies. And we want you to think about how this can pan out, which is if at any time where the government asks us to stay home or things like that, that we're able to sustain ourselves at our homes for a reasonable period of time. So, but again, that's things for your personal lives and are just suggestions, but we want you to be thinking about that so that you don't have that, that panic come to you. Lastly, we have a business. We see everybody in our business as family. We want to make sure everybody's taken care of, and we'll do what we can as owners to make sure that is the case. We need to continue to be profitable and productive. It's our job to do our part again in the economy and to continue to support ourselves and be self-sufficient to the extent possible that it doesn't adversely affect anybody else, or we're not becoming part of the transmission problem or whatnot. But we're in a great place because we're in an industry that is that everybody is dependent on, and so we have both a responsibility principally, but then also people need us. So we're in a good position where we need to be around to make sure everybody's vehicles are moving and that the economy continues to go forward. So I hope that we covered the topics that you wanted us to, but we hope that you understand the general message of reasonable preparedness and precaution and procedures versus panicking and causing a greater problem than what needs to be made at this point. So thank you for your time, and best wishes.